Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the next edition to Wrenching on the Old Cummins. Okay, so last video mentioned, got my valve covers on, radiator, killer dowel pin, and that debacle's all done. So now on to the next project, which, is inevitably one of those things that comes with the ownership of an older vehicle. I'm leaking power steering fluid, and I believe I've already found the culprit. If we can get the camera in there. What I'm really hoping it is that it's that upper hose there going into the steering gear. See, it's kind of run down a bit, and it's slobbered all over, a couple drips on the ground. It's coming out of work, and I seen a little puddle under the truck, and this thing's been dry as a bones for the most part since I took her home, so I stuck my head underneath there, and I'll be damned. And of course the power steering reservoir was a little on the low side, so definitely don't want to get low on fluid inside of these things, so I added some fluid. But one of the things I absolutely love about these first generation trucks, and believe me, there's enough about them to hate as well, but one of the things I like is how simple they are relatively to work on, because there's only two lines here. The one on the right is the low pressure side, that's the return to the reservoir. The one on the other side is the high pressure side. Reason I know this is because this is on the other side. On the high pressure side, they have a high pressure hydraulic line clamp. Low pressure side, it's simply just secured with a pair of simple pipe clamps. Now, on this particular vehicle, there is not a, you see how it's kind of down in here, you got the high pressure side down into the steering gear, and then the low pressure side here comes out and returns to the reservoir. There is no cooler for these trucks, for the power steering system, so it makes it incredibly simple. There's a little bit of a leak. It's coming from that vacuum pump. I'm sure it's the seal between them. I'm not really looking forward to doing that, because then all this Humpty Dumpty's got to come back off the truck again, because in order to be able to get that off, you got to take the front cover off, which means a new front seal, which, in my previous videos I expressed my pleasure in doing that. I could probably do it without having to pull the radiator, but oh well. It ain't to the point where I want to mess with it. But yeah, straightforward project. Pull these 8 lugs out of the wheel, pull the wheel, obviously jack the truck up, and I'm going to replace the entire hose all the way to the pump. I mean, you may as well. So I'm going to replace that, replace the hoses. What I really hope it's not is the seal that goes into the top there of the steering gear, because the truck drives straight as an arrow. Nobody rebuilds them anymore, at least nobody that I know around here. I'm sure they do somewhere. They just sell them as a remanufactured. But I mean, what do you expect? It's almost a 30-year-old truck. Walk through my messy shop. I'm going to go through, since I got all that stuff going on, I'm finally going to go ahead and do the upgrade here to the compressor. And for those of you who are joining me now, I got this from a friend of mine. This was on a 8.3 Cummins. Now, the reason I'm going to be doing just the entire hybrid turbo deal is there's 2 reasons for it. First of all, the manifold on a 5.9 Cummins in the truck setup, I know those engines are in damn near everything I've seen in boats and generators and trucks and various other swap projects. But anyways, on these 8.3s, it's the exact same thing. The exhaust into the turbine comes up through the turbine housing, obviously, and then out. And then here's the oil inlet, and the other side is the bottom. It's opposite on the truck manifolds. This right here is facing down that way. So in order to be able to put this whole turbo on my truck, and it would fit, this flange is the same size, the inlet and drain would be in the wrong spot. Now, I know that oil pressure does actually pump the oil through the turbo, gravity simply drains it out, plus the pressure coming in. I've heard people say both, yes, you can do that, no, you can't do that. I just don't want to take a risk doing that, so I'm not going to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this off. Plus, this is way, way bigger than the turbine in the stock configuration, and it would take an incredibly long time to spool this turbo up. But I mean, this turbo was used in a rebuild shop, and what happens is the customer sends in the engine, they do a complete overhaul down to the bare block, rebuild it, but then it's assembled as either a short block or a long block minus the turbo. So these turbos actually stayed with the rebuild shop, and after so many pulls, after so many hours, they just, you know, shit can them. You know, so this thing was just going to go out to scrap, believe it or not. So I was like, yeah, I definitely want it. And as you can see, spins freely. Doesn't make any crunching or munching. There's no play. She's nice and tight. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video here and take this thing apart and show you to do this right, you need everything that I'm about to pull off this turbo. So stand by, I'm going to take it apart, and we'll resume in a second. Okay, so first part of the teardown of any turbo, and oh, this is a whole set. So it is compatible with the H1C. That is standard on these first gens. You're going to need everything from the center cartridge forward, okay? So you're obviously going to need the turbine wheel. Man, that thing just spins perfect. I mean, it is absolutely virgin. So you take this V-band clamp off. It's just an 11 mil, nothing's fancy about it. Make sure you don't lose the nut. And you want to make sure that you save this piece here. This is an O-ring. Don't lose it, don't damage it. Now, when you take that clamp off, you're obviously going to want to take the compressor housing off as well. Look how clean this is. This is new. I mean, brand new. So, big shout out there to Troy. Thanks, buddy. Then you need to get this off. Now, there's a couple ways that I've seen to get this thing off. I mean, I've seen people just simply put a impact socket on it and, you know, get it off, but, you know, I don't have none of that, plus I don't want to beat on the thing. So what you are going to need, in this case, oh, that's too big. It's an 11 mil. Then you need to take this off here. You need to take these 4 bolts here off this back plate. What I'm going to do to break this loose, because I only want this thing here, the rest of this is going to stay, so I'm going to stick a socket on the turbine and my wrench on this end here, and I'm going to pull this compressor wheel off. Stand by. Alright, that was pretty easy. Now, one of the things I'm probably going to do is just, like I said, just put this Humpty Dumpty back together. Boy, now that I've done this, I'm awfully worried that I've probably compromised this gasket, just like you do in anything, but oh well, this is just going to go back on a shelf. So, minor correction, it was actually a 10 millimeter, where is that, to get this guy off the front. Again, save all your components. So I got my compressor wheel, and don't drop this thing. I mean, just common sense stuff. I mean, that is balanced, so be very careful. It was a, what did I use here? Come on now, where is it? I used a 13/16. It's most likely a metric, but I just had to have enough force to hold onto that to pull that off. So I'm gonna wrap this all up and save it for another day. But so you do need this plate here, and there is a bearing and a seal on the back side, or at least a mating surface. Look at that. Whole set makes these damn things in China. Oh, they're Learn something every day. Oh, well, what isn't made in China anymore? Well, so that does it for this guy here. Now, the reason I did that is because this compressor housing, that compressor wheel, and this back plate are all off of this turbo, rather than making modifications to the one that's currently on the truck, which is that H1C turbo. I'm just going to go ahead and pull the whole Humpty Dumpty together and I don't know, probably switch them, you know. The fun part is going to be getting this half off the truck. It was very easy to do the other one simply because I could hold on to the back with that 13/16 socket this side here, no dice, you know, because I already got the downpipe on there and I really don't want to take it apart again. Oh well, figured since, you know, I'm not doing anything incredibly pressing now, I can go ahead and do that. But so yeah, got that all taken apart. Walk back through the messy shop again. And I still got this cat one down here. I'm not sure what the hell I'm going to do with that. I might throw that on eBay. So throw a comment in the comment section if anybody's particularly interested in it. I have no idea what the hell they're worth. That one does have a little bit of play. Not terrible, but it does have, you know, a millimeter or so of play in it. That came off of a C7. That was in a military rig as well, and the rebuild shop came in for a blown oil cooler. So, you know, they throw all that crap away. But if anybody's dying to have it, you know, I suppose all it's doing is I keep moving the damn thing from one end of my shop to the other. So if anybody's dying to have it, it is a it's a turbo off of a C7 Cat, wastegated turbo internally. Let me see. Son of a bitch, is heavy. Let me see if I can get some information off of it. I said it is wastegated. It's a Cat. Ignore that. I just threw that on there. And that's upside down. So that's the identifying numbers on it. 6698313-C. And there's some more up here. Looks like 056T. No idea what the hell that means. Ah, that's actually really what I wanted right there. There's the part number. 2692919. And the very serial number. So yep, she's a genuine Cat. I got it because I was going to throw this whole kit and caboodle on the Ram. I decided to go a different route for now. Whew. And I just keep moving that heavy son of a bitch from one end of the shop to the other. So like I said, if anybody's terribly interested in it, I suppose make me an offer. Less the shipping, because it probably cost a pretty penny to ship it. Anyways, so I'm going to cut it for here for now, guys. Again, like and subscribe. Put your questions in the comment section. And thank you for watching.